1857 Revolt. The 1857 in the history of modern India marked the beginning of a new era and the end of an era. It witnessed the culmination of a century-long tradition of fear, popular resistance to British administration domination in the form of a great revolt which nearly swept away the rule of the British from India. The causes of revolt are inextricably woven together that it is difficult to determine the sequence in which they arose. There was a fateful combination of circumstances in 1857 which didn't appear in the past and nor ended to recur in future. Military reasons. Precipitation Factor was the replacement of old Brown Bess Musk with new Enfield rifle for its longer range and greater accuracy. The sepoy had to load the rifle after biting off a paper cartridge. It was alleged paper was smeared with or greased with cow and pig fat. It provoked the religious sentiments of Hindu and Muslims alike to bring about a united resistance against the British. The Enlistment Order of 1856 made it obligatory on the part of sepoy to go on duty wherever ordered. It led the sepoy to suspect that Britishers intended to force them all embrace Christianity. On professional level, an Indian sepoy was paid 1/3 of the salary compared to a European sepoy. Moreover, there was racial discrimination and they were roughly treated, abused and humiliated. In 1854 a Post Office Act was passed which withdrew the free postage privilege of sepoy. The majority of recruits in the British Army were from Awadh, Bengal and northwest frontier provinces. Many of them belonged to high caste, Rajput, Pathan families who didn't like to be treated on par like low caste recruits. Initially soldiers were paid bata when they were posted far away from home, but by 1850 it all was withdrawn. Economic causes of the revolt. The various land revenue settlements like Permanent, Riotwari, Mahalwari introduced by Britishers meant a loss of land for many landholders and heavy taxation for cultivators. The land revenue assessment under all the systems was heavy and oppressive. Even in case of crop failure, relief was not given to the peasants. Many of these peasants were caught in vicious cycles of debt. Moreover, at some places land became a commodity to be sold and purchased in the market. Destruction of indigenous industry and handicrafts. The company traders enjoyed various privileges such as duty-free trade which made their goods comparatively cheaper as compared to the Indian produce. Though the Indian goods can still compete with the British goods, but they were charged with heavy duty when they entered European markets.
Confiscation of rent-free estates. In the 1850s, the government set up a tribunal to inquire into the title deeds of rent-free state. In between 1852–57, near about 21,000 cases were brought before the Inam Commission, which pronounced the confiscation of all the rent-free states. Those who were highly disaffected with these included Molvas, Alemas, priestly class who later actively participated in 1857 revolt.
Socio-religious causes of the revolt. The British system, which was identified by the policy of social reform to a certain degree, created ambivalence among the people towards the old orthodox system of society. Indians were put off by the bad faith of the alien government in India, which disregarded Hindu and Muslim alike and called them bigots. Further, the missionary activities of the Britishers further fueled the fire in India. Moreover, in the 1850s, the Religious Disability Act tried to modify many of the Hindu customs. Political causes of the revolt. The company made several annexations under Wellesley's subsidiary alliance system and doctrine of lapse by Dalhousie. Using doctrine of lapse, Satara, Jatpur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Nagpur, Jhansi, Bhagat was annexed by Dalhousie into British territory. The absorption of these kingdoms was done with complete impunity. Awadh and Punjab both annexed in defiance of treaty rights. Area of Berar was snatched from the Nizam of Hyderabad and Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah lost his status of nominal ruler. high infant mortality rate was there, and the obvious response of the Indian population was increasing discontent and disaffection against the British. Course of the revolt on 2nd of February 1857, 19th Bengal Native Infantry at Baharampur. They refused to use greased cartridged or newly introduced rifle, as such it was disbanded. In March again on 29th of March 1857 in Barakpur near Calcutta, the 34th Native Infantry refused to use the grease cartridges. Moreover, a young Brahman sepoy named Mangal Pandey went further and killed in his commanding officer. As such he was overpowered and executed. The mutiny soon spread to Ambala, Lucknow, Awadh. The real outbreak of mutiny is believed to be mutiny of Meerut on the 23rd of April 1857. The soldiers refused to use the grease cartridges. They were trialed by a native court-martial, the sentence of which was pronounced on 9th of May 1857, which was 10 years imprisonment, and moreover they were stripped of their uniforms, fettered and marched to jail. Next morning on the 10th of May the imprisoned sepoys were freed by their colleagues, and they overpowered all the commanding officer in Meerut and started their march to Delhi. Reaching Delhi they proclaimed Bahadur Shah as Emperor of Hindustan, and this happened on 11th of May. By the nightfall Europeans were massacred in Delhi, and soon mutiny spread to Lucknow, Allahabad, Bareilly, Jhansi, and Kanpur, etc. The natural choice at Kanpur was Nana Sahib. He was adopted son of last Peshwa Bajirao II. He was refused the family title and was living near Kanpur. Suppression of the revolt. Rani Lakshmibai and Kumwar Singh escaped the vengeance of Britishers and died in combat. Bahadur Shah was tried by a court-martial, exiled for life to Rangoon, where he died in 1862. Begum Hazrat Mahal retreated to Nepal, and so as Nana Sahib, Tantia Tope was captured and hanged, and lastly Malavi Ahimdallah was killed by a pro-British Raja near Shajapur in June 1858. Reasons for failure of the revolt. The revolt didn't embrace the entire country. The revolt was not able to garner the support of various sections of Indian society, particularly rulers, rich merchant, zamindars and educated intelligentsia. Educated intelligentsia considered it backward-looking, trying to establish old feudal order. The poor organization and lack of coordination among the rebel was perhaps the most important cause of failure. Lack of unified ideology and program. The revolt was parochial in outlook and parochial in nature, whereby everyone was fighting for their own self-interest, not for common cause. Neither the sepoy nor their leaders were inspired the high spirit of nationalism. The rebels were inferior in their technology when compared with the Britishers. The commander-in-chief of British's army was always informed about the activities of rebel leaders through telegraph services. Significance of the revolt. Though it was an unsuccessful attempt but a heroic effort which shattered the myth of British invincibility, even in its failure it served a great purpose by implanting the seeds of nationalism and preparing the ground of Indian freedom struggle.